Welcome back to the Hoops Temple podcast. Y'all know me, Nathan Schwartz. Joining me from Sacramento, Aaron Schroeder. Aaron, how's it going?
I'm doing great. I have to apologize. I tweeted earlier that Kevin Durant only has 8 heaves in his career, like shots from beyond half court, basically. And that's a reflection on his entire career, the unwillingness to take those long full court shots. And that tweet kind of blew up. So Durant's not going to be on the podcast anytime soon because he probably will see that.
He probably will see it. I assume this is in reference to the NBA changing its rules or changing its statistical counting on heaves, that if you shoot in the waning minutes, moments of a period from beyond 36 feet, it counts as a team field goal attempt. How do you feel about this change in rules? Does this move the needle for you at all?
Did they change that? I thought they were thinking about it.
They've rolled it out for
Oh.
Summer League.
Oh, for summer league. Okay. I mean, I don't mind it. Part of me feels like, and this goes back to the Durant thing, grow some fucking balls, take a half court shot. Everyone else does it. And I mean, Durant's been on interviews and has said, like, it depends what I'm shooting for the night. And that's whether I'll take that shot or not. If I'm 4 for 4, I'll get it up there. But if I'm, 8 for 19, I'm not going to do it. And you know what? I don't know, man. I don't think
Admi-
that's a great look. Take some half court shots. Andre Miller took like 300 heaves. That's why he's the GOAT.
I made a TikTok about it, and someone commented that it's basically Goodhart's law, which is once you start tracking something, or once you start putting emphasis behind a metric, that metric then no longer carries the same weight or value because people start skewing with it and messing with it. And once people got so locked in on having good 3-point percentages, they stopped wanting to take these heaves because it was dropping their 3-point percentage. And I think that's a shame. Jokic led the league with almost double the next highest person's heave attempt rate this last year. That's why he's the real MVP. Suck it, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
And honestly, I love that because he took like 30 something of them, 20, 30 something of those heaves. And without those, he shoots 45% from three. And legitimately, this is like, I mean, I feel like I want to teach like a basketball philosophy class because I think this all connects in a way where it's a fear of failure. It's not the desire to be great, the desire to hit a half court shot, the desire to stay in Oklahoma City and win a championship. It's the fear of failure. It's wanting to join a team that just won 73 games and is a guaranteed championship. And then you realize it's not so great.
When you started your leaving Oklahoma part of that speech, I was like, is this going to be a shot at Westbrook? Is this going to be a shot at Paul George? Oh, no, it's a shot at Durant. Okay.
It's a shot at
All
Durant.
right.
Durant going to Golden State and winning 2 easy titles is the reason he did that is the exact same reason he won't take half court shots. It's a fear of failure.
Absolutely. And we need less people that are afraid of failing,
Thank
this offseason. This offseason has been, it's been one for the real hoop heads. It's been one for the people that care about the difference between Duncan Robinson and Malik Beasley. So, since we haven't had as many major moves, and we kind of touched on them during the live draft pod, let's go back and forth, you and I. Pick a team. Let's talk about them for a few minutes. Because I don't feel like there's a true structure, a true hierarchy to this is the biggest offseason, at least as far as things have gone since the draft, if we kind of already knew about the Durant move. But the floor is open to you. Which team would you like to start off with discussing their moves? Or lack thereof?
Can we start with the Kings? Let's start with my team.
God.
We never talk about my team.
Oh, God, I hate you. Yeah, let's start with the Kings.
I love it. So the first thing I'll say is I loved our draft. I didn't know anything about the draft going into it, but since then I've heard some really nice things. I don't know if Nick Clifford or Maxime Reynaud are going to be all NBA players,
No,
but they at least
won't.
are modern. But they at least are modern players. They are guys that shoot threes and play defense, and they fit on teams in 2026, which is a really nice deviation from the obsession with mid-range players like DeRozan and the back to the basket style that Sabonis plays. Even the Valanciunas trade, and that was a salary dumping in order to get Schroeder. I like Valanciunas. His game is best fitted for 40 years ago. And to get rid of him and bring on like, we're drafting a backup center, and this guy can dribble the ball. This guy can play defense and shoot threes. It's like, let's actually play basketball the way it's meant to be played in 2026, and that's a nice change for me.
You want to play the way basketball is played in 2026, and yet you have signed Dennis Schroeder to a team that already has Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, Domantas Sabonis, and is in trade talks for Jonathan Kuminga. Are you sure you're building a team for 2026?
I'm positive. I think that we're in the early stages of a large revamp of this roster. The Schroeder signing isn't like super exciting. It's market price for a starting to backup point guard. I think what's Duncan Robinson's contract? What did he got? 3
like
for 48. Partially
48?
guaranteed year 2, non-guaranteed year 3, and so it's like, it's nothing crazy. It's a movable deal. I think the third year is a team option. I'm not entirely sure, but it's nothing to like go crazy about. But the thing is,
a fine point guard. He's fine. He's acceptable. If he's your backup, you're pretty happy. If he's your starter, you're pretty sad. He's like somewhere between the 25th and 35th best point guard in the league right now.
Absolutely. And I watched the Kings struggle to get the ball up the floor for basically the entire second half of the season. He's going to really alleviate those issues. And I think will help Sabonis, because Sabonis works better around a primary ball handler. He'll help LaVine. He'll help DeRozan. If those guys are on the roster at the start of the season, which I kind of hope they're not. I kind of hope they're not on my team, so I don't have to watch them anymore.
Not where I thought we were going to start things off with the Kings. But if you're going to go for your hometown team, I might as well go for my hometown team at this point. Let's talk about the Pistons, who were all set to bring back Malik Beasley until his name got embroiled in scandal and controversy. And now I don't actually know if they still can. Just cap space wise. At this point, they have traded out Simone Fontecchio, whom I've loved. And when I went to my Pistons game in person this year, I think I don't get to do all that often because they're still like an hour and 20 minutes away from me and cost money now. I sat next to this guy. Sat next to one of our followers, Jared, great guy. But next to him or just a random guy, just the whole game's like, why the fuck is Simone Fontecchio in? Stupid Fontecchio. Guy sucks. And then, of course, Fontecchio had good moments. Like, yeah, that's my guy, Simone. But regardless, I like what Detroit has done. Trading out Tim Hardaway Jr. and Dennis Schroeder, bringing in Karis LeVert as that bench kind of scoring piece, bringing him back to Michigan. He's a University of Michigan guy, so Detroit will not be winning the title anytime soon. It is impossible to win the title with a University of Michigan player unless he is getting the shit beat out of him by a University of Michigan State player. I'm sorry, I don't make the rules. Draymond Green does, but that's just how this happens. So I like that. Duncan Robinson, I still have a lot of faith in as a shooter. He's been up and down. He's tried to expand his game in the last couple of years, but can he replace Malik Beasley in the Pistons offense? I think absolutely.
It's possible. I think the Pistons are going to miss out on the floor spacing for sure. Beasley and Tim Hardaway combined for about 14 3-point attempts per game, and they shot about 38% combined. That's real 3-point volume. And Karis LeVert's not really going to replace that right now. Last season, LeVert and Robinson combined for about 11 attempts, neither of which had 40% shooting numbers like Malik Beasley. I mean, Beasley almost led the league in 3-point makes. He was phenomenal. I honestly forget if he did or not. I think it was him. I know it was him or Edwards at the very end.
I'm going to throw this out there. I think he comes back.
You think he comes back?
I think he comes back.
Interesting. I mean, maybe. I mean, I think the moves they've made suggest that he's gone. Because if he's coming back and he's fine and he's not in prison for his gambling contacts, then what do we get from that? He's gonna to command market value for the almost being the 3-point leader last season, and that's
I
going to
don't.
be $15 million a year.
I think market value's gone at this point. Who still has cap space that they can go get him, and who still has the faith to go get him after what just happened? I mean, even if he's cleared,
Well, they
which
he's fine.
well, we just saw Terry Rozier cleared. I don't see anybody
Yeah.
lining up to try to get Rozier right
Because
now.
Terry Rozier is terrible. That's why. Because Terry Rozier is awful. That's why no one wants him.
Rozier had hot moments last season.
No, he did not.
No, he legitimately had.
He did not.
Was it 2 years ago that he had that 6 or 7 game span where he was 30 and 15?
6 or 7 game span. Last season, he averaged 10 points a night on 39% shooting, 29% from 3. He's terrible.
When did he move from Charlotte to Miami? Was it last season or 2 seasons ago?
It was 2 seasons ago.
Okay, because his run there at the end with Charlotte before getting traded, or kind of middle run because they weren't able to trade him fast enough. But he had a great 6-7 game span. It's like you're setting this guy up for trading.
It is pretty crazy. From 2020 to 2024, he averaged 20 a night. I just wouldn't have guessed that. 20 points per game, Terry Rozier, for 5 years.
Yeah, I think the Pistons are going to miss the ball handling of Dennis Schroeder, that defense.
Yeah.
But they're also bringing back Jaden Ivey, and Schroeder was always kind of the stopgap to make this work while Ivey was out. Maybe if Ivey comes back, you're not missing that as much. But I think Detroit is going to return about as good as they were last year, potentially better depending on the continuous youth improvement. I don't think they lost enough of the veterans to really, have a major step back.
Mm-hmm. I kind of wanted to touch on another Kings point just for a moment and a Warriors point. Well, okay. I think this is a very big storyline. This is kind of like the big, I guess this is the big fish left is Kuminga. How much do you like Jonathan Kuminga? Give me the upside and then the negatives for the downside for signing Jonathan Kuminga at this point.
I'm trying to think of like a Kuminga-esque archetype that I would really love him to develop into, because I think it almost has to be an off the bench guy, but like in the same way like Lou Williams was an off the bench guy that you turned your entire team's offense over to, because he doesn't functionally fit in a team's offense. And when he goes off for big games, his team usually is losing by a lot. Like he had some great games for the Warriors in that Minnesota series, and notice how that worked out. Like it just, I got in a fight with some Kobe fans recently.
This goes back to Kobe fans. All
right, so in the 2000 season, I said like Kobe was pretty replaceable. Kobe, you need another all-star. You need a guy who could score and play defense. But like the defense was what really mattered. Like Kobe had these clutch buckets. What about him versus the Kings in the first round? And Kobe has multiple double-digit fourth quarters against the Kings. Games 3 and games 4, both of them Lakers losses, both of them after which you have Shaq and Phil Jackson coming out and being like, Kobe needs to play his role. Kobe needs to like give the ball up. When he goes on those like ISO heavy things, it throws the whole team off. And that's kind of where I see Kuminga is this, when he goes ISO heavy, it throws the whole team off. Where is that functionally going to be useful? And at this point, the answer is Brooklyn.
Yeah. Actually, the answer is Sacramento because he's coming here instead. Here's 2 pieces. The first piece is I think he was younger than 5 players drafted this season. And he's heading into year 5. He's younger than Devin Carter. And so there's a case to say that he's still very young and can develop. The other piece is I feel like the plants grow when you water them.
Yes.
And Jonathan Kuminga was psychologically tortured by Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr would come to Kuminga's house. He'd have dinner with his family. He'd meet all the kids. He'd say, Jonathan, you're starting tomorrow. You're going to play 35 minutes a night tomorrow. Jonathan shows up to work and is benched. Straight DMP'd. Steve Kerr pretends it never happened. Psychological warfare to break the will of a 22-year-old basketball player. What if he was just the starting power forward in a team that liked him? That was like, you're in our rotation. Let's do this. And I think there's still some upside. Per 36 minutes, he was averaging 23 points, 7 boards, 3 assists. He produced in his minutes he just barely played, which is also hilarious because Warriors fans are like, we need way more for Jonathan Kuminga. And it's like, do you want to pay him $25 million a year? It's like, you guys aren't even playing him. So, I mean, someone needs to value what he can do.
You know where he would be great? Charlotte.
Phenomenal.
I mean, you remember how like Miles Bridges, before we knew what a shit person Miles Bridges was, him and LaMelo would run the break, and it would just be the most electric, exciting thing. And then like Charlotte's offense kind of dies down in the half court. Put Kuminga there. Let him see what he could get. I really hope he does land somewhere. I still don't know that he can functionally be a guy that you build a team around, and so I think he will eventually have to be that high volume scorer off the bench. But like, yeah, I'm all for your idea of let's water it. Let's get him somewhere where he's going to get a lot of touches and get a lot of shots up.
Especially because in 2024, like he played in 74 games, 26 minutes a night, averaged 16 points per game, and then like that role gets scaled back, and he's just barely playing. It's in the playoffs, like just in and out. I can't even imagine like that kind of inconsistency, like what that's going to do for you. I do think if the Kings get Kuminga, it's going to be, that's the sign that this is going to change a lot, because you cannot roster DeRozan, Sabonis, and Kuminga and expect to like shoot enough threes to win any basketball game. So I'm sure change.
Maybe you just take the 3-point line off the court. Just guerrilla rules this.
All right, wait, no, this is my go ahead.
The team show up to play, and oh no, there's no 3-point line.
Yeah.
Sorry, our court manufacturer made a mistake. We can't get another court here in time, so you guys, you just want to hoop this one without it? We'll call it throwback. Here, you throw on your throwbacks, we'll throw on our throwbacks. You know, Rochester Royals days.
In the same way that baseball teams have different size stadiums, the Yankees can short porch it. The Kings are going to have no 3-point line. You come here, you have to. It's all ones and twos. We're playing pickup style. I guess ones and twos wouldn't make sense because there is.
I mean, at this point, it's just twos.
It's just
twos and ones.
For free throws, I guess I meant the free throws as the ones, but.
And now you don't have to worry about Vivek picking, Buddy Hield or Ben McLemore or whichever shooter, Jimmer Fredette again.
Hey, we did not draft Buddy Hield. We traded for Buddy Hield.
Great.
We went out and got him for DeMarcus.
That doesn't make life better for you. But who's your second team then?
My second team? Let me pick one. How about the Knicks?
Yeah.
The Knicks. You know why we're picking the Knicks?
Because they signed Mike Brown.
Because they signed Mike Brown. It all comes back. It all comes back around.
Do you want to tell Knicks fans what they're about to anticipate, what they're about to feel?
Sure. Your lineup is never going to change. I guess this is basically the same as Tibbs. It's basically the same as you'll get a deeper rotation, but at the same time, marginally. But I guess here's the big thing: Mike Brown got fired because he didn't play Keon Ellis. There's no other factors that went into this. You can say that it's a Sabonis thing or Fox didn't like him, whatever you think happened behind the scenes. Mike Brown got fired because he was obsessed with the worst player on our team, Kevin Harden. And so you're going to have stretches where you have really terrible players in their rotation, and they're just going to be in there, and they're never going to come out.
I do think I made the TikTok with all the similarities of Mike Brown and Thibodeau, but I do think the one substantial difference that is really going to help Brown is like his players liked him, from what I understand. Yeah. And Fox wanted to be traded after they fired Brown.
Yeah.
And it wasn't quite like like if you fire Brown, I'm walking out. It was more of a, you guys have gone through so many coaches, I just can't do this anymore type of deal. Mm-hmm. But like still, that was the straw that broke the camel's back for Fox. I don't know that the Knicks players really loved playing for Thibodeau. It kind of sounded like the exit interviews, they were like, can we have a different coach, please? So you got the closest guy to Tibbs that's not Tibbs. Maybe that resets the clock before the players get burned out on hearing his voice. And you added Jordan Clarkson, Gershon Yabusele, who I'm excited to see Gershon in New York,
They're
Broadway.
gonna love him. They're just gonna love him.
I do worry though. Man's got a big ass already. How big is he about to get?
He's listed at a 6'8", 260.
That's a generous 260.
260. I mean, I just thought he was really good on a bad Philly team. You could see like he has nice feel, he has nice touch. He shot 50% from the field, 38% from three while playing mostly center. Like he has a fit in the modern NBA. Going back to the Philly stuff, yeah.
And Clarkson, this past year was not a great Clarkson year, or by the numbers, but he can still contribute to teams. And I think a big part of why it wasn't a great Clarkson year is because it wasn't a great year for anybody in Utah. The team intentionally rolled out some of the most laughable lineups we have ever seen. It was like, hey, what was our worst plus-minus lineup from last night? Cool. That's starting tonight. For Utah. Like, they tried to play bad basketball.
I do think that the Jazz are the worst franchise in the NBA. Like, I really believe that.
I think they were intentionally trying to achieve that honor last year. I don't think it will be the same this year. Not that they're going to be, like, much better, but I would hope that they're at least competently bad as opposed to being incompetently bad.
I just think that they tank to the point that they're crushing the souls of the players on their roster. That's my problem. But Jordan Clarkson is good. Looking back to his Sixth Man of the Year campaign in 2021, like this is on a Jazz team that won 52 games. The following season, they win 53 games. He's coming off the bench again. Like he knows how to play that role on a playoff team. And I also feel like I only said negative things about Mike Brown. The players do really like him. Man, do I have positive things to say about Mike Brown? We won games. Like, I think it's so tricky because I want to say like, oh, he held his players accountable when he didn't. The Kevin Huerter sucked for 40 straight games, and at no point did that rotation ever change. And that's just a part. I think he holds them accountable in a professionalism sense, but you can be as bad as you'd ever want to be, and you're just going to get rolled out there. And he is the worst. He has the worst use of challenges statistically in the NBA. Like the Kings over the last 5 or so years during his time, they had like the worst success rate of challenges because he blows it in the first quarter on a call that's obviously not right.
Oh, I'm sure the Madison Square Garden crowd will let him know about this.
Yeah.
So not too worried there.
All right. I'd be very concerned.
One last question for the Knicks. Are they the favorite to come out of the East at this point, then?
Wow, the favorite to come out of the East. Let me look at the Eastern Conference for just a second.
I told you yesterday, the East is really, really bad. There are 4 good teams in the East by my count.
So last year, only the Celtics and the Cavs were above them record-wise. And the Celtics are gone. I'd still say Cleveland's much better. I'd say Cleveland's a tier above them. Indiana's gone. Well, do I prefer the Knicks or Orlando? I'd say because the Hawks got better too. No, they're not the favorites. Cleveland is, and then there's like a Orlando, Knicks, Hawks tier below that.
I just don't know that I trust the Cavs in the playoffs again. They're great.
They got injured. That has nothing to do with their play. They just got hurt.
2 years ago, the moment was too big. They weren't ready for the bright lights. This year, everyone's hurt. I'm just saying. 1 is a coincidence. 2 is awkward. 3 is a pattern.
Weren't ready for the bright light. They got hurt. They got hurt in that Boston series too. Yeah, Donovan Mitchell played 3 games in that Boston series.
Was it 3 years ago that they weren't ready for the bright lights? When did Jared Allen come out with the statement, "We ain't ready for the bright lights"?
I think that was 3 years ago. That was 3 years ago. I think they're ready for the lights at this point.
They better damn be.
They just need to stay healthy. But yeah, very clearly better than.
Let's pivot to the Cavs because they had. I mean, they didn't do a ton, but they made a few who are nice moves. They traded for Lonzo Ball, shipping out Isaac Okoro. They lost Ty Jerome. They re-signed Sam Merrill, and at the minimum, they snuck in Larry Nance Jr. Just
Mm-hmm.
you always have to have a Nance on your team, whether it's Larry Nance Sr., Larry Nance Jr., Pete Nance, the other Nance.
Your camera is going to.
I see it.
I
It
think you have
is.
the only camera on Earth that still does this. Like, I feel like
Huh.
I'm a kid again watching my TV break.
I'm still here. Audio's still fine, so I'm
All
just gonna
right,
keep going.
we're just gonna keep going. Yeah, the Cavs are insanely expensive. They are well over the second apron. And for them to, I think they saved $1 million by flipping a Coro for Lonzo, which I like because that's a barrel replacement, and Lonzo's a good shooter and has a really nice feel. But yeah, and to grab Larry Nance again, I'm a big Nance fan. Like he's a good vibes guy for sure. He was there a while back, right?
Yeah, he's coming back. He was there the last year of LeBron, and then I think a little bit the
Oh
next
yeah,
year.
yeah.
Or
He played 4 years with them,
yeah,
and his dad,
it's
of course.
someone to play that's not Tristan Thompson. That's huge.
Yeah, come on, dude. I should have known that the Cavs weren't real contenders because they were still like rolling Tristan Thompson out there for even stretches. Tristan Thompson was on the Kings in 2022, and I was positive, I was sure that was the last time he was ever going to be in the NBA. And he's still here.
Tristan Thompson got served a 25-game suspension for PEDs when he was playing like 5 minutes a night and putting up 3 points. And I thought that would be the end of him for sure. And he's still here.
He's still here.
All right.
13 years later.
All right. I'm not counting the Cavs as my pick.
Okay.
That was
just breaking the rules. All right, that's fine.
okay. You know what? No, okay. You go. It just
Let's
felt
talk
like
about
a
Denver.
natural pivot.
I
Okay.
like Denver is a big talking point. God, did I love the Michael Porter Jr. trade. It's not just that you get the most unaware asshole off your roster and you bring in Cam Johnson. It's that you free up the cap space. They got a player who I think is basically just as good and better at some things like on-ball creation and is a better passer. Everyone's a better passer than Michael Porter Jr. But
He's a better off-ball cutter. He's a better defender. He does useful things well.
absolutely. And then you immediately flip the extra cap space, and all of a sudden Tim Hardaway, who shot the lights out, Bruce Brown is back. Like the vibes are great on that. You get Valanciunas, and that was kind of iffy for a little bit. Like there were some rumors that he was going to go play in Europe. The Nuggets told him today that we expect you to play for us in the NBA. So I'm not sure where that's going, but Jonas Valanciunas is probably the best backup center in the NBA. And that was one of their biggest weaknesses. Like DeAndre Jordan is terrible, and he can actually kind of keep the team going for a little bit at the center position.
There was a slight rumor in there because there's been a lot of talk about the Warriors signing Al Horford. Al Horford's probably not returning to the Celtics. Rumor has it he's between the Warriors, the Lakers, and retirement. And I think if he goes to the Lakers, that's just devastating from him being a Celtic for that long. Like I think his number's gonna be in the rafters for Boston, and I think that would mean something for him. Boston's retired so many numbers that they just give him out like sprinkles.
They're not retiring Al Horford's number.
They've retired everyone's number.
Really?
Yes.
I mean, they're like the most successful franchise.
Actually, so it's them and then it's Phoenix. But Phoenix is a funny story because they announced that they wouldn't be retiring numbers anymore. They were just going to do a Ring of Honor. And then it was like, oh, well, you mean you're not going to retire Charles Barkley or Steve Nash's number? Mm-hmm. It's like, well, I guess all of our Ring of Honor numbers, which we set a much lower bar for, are now going to be retired. And they've got like 17 retired numbers.
All these guys are very reasonable for the Celtics retired number. He'd be by far the worst.
Jim Lufsky? He gave up his retired number so you guys could wear it because they were running out of numbers. But his name's still in the rafters.
Who is that?
Exactly my point.
No, they did that. That guy is somebody. One sec.
He was like the pre-Satch Sanders, the like defensive forward that played minor role. Well, not minor role, but like it was the 5th starter for a couple of years during the title runs.
Okay, so his number is also Cowens' number, and so they retired.
Cowens.
Okay, but I'll give you $20 if Al Horford's number gets retired by Boston.
I'll send you my address.
All right. I will mail you a $20 bill.
Probably Venmo would be easier. But like I just don't think Horford's going to the Lakers because of all of the Celtics things. Yeah. So it was either going to be the Warriors, or when Valanciunas kind of was waffling if he was going to play for Denver, there was, well, if he gets bought out or if he just accepts nothing and walks away, could Denver pivot his money into Al Horford? And I got really excited for Al Horford at Denver.
That'd be nice.
I think that's still a holdout potential.
That'd be really, really great.
Like that in my mind is even better than Valanciunas. So that's kind of what I'm monitoring and keep an eye out for.
So the Nuggets are going to win 62 games, and Jokic is going to win MVP.
Unless the Bucks win 50.
That's just you. This is like just a you thing. You're the only person in the last couple years that have even like wanted Giannis as the MVP like this.
Hey, they got 48 last year. I'm saying they get 50 this next year.
I think he was my pick the first year him and Dame got together. I was like, they're going to be awesome and Giannis is going to MVP, and they were terrible.
Well, just wait. Bradley Beal's going to get bought out. He's going to go to Milwaukee.
Well, honestly, the first thing, that'd be honestly kind of a nice fit for him.
It would be.
The thing with the MVP, it's all about expectations, right? And so SGA, when Steph won in 2016, he way overdid it again. He's more impressive. Like, what could SGA do that's better than this? You can't win any more games. 68 is like the mathematical limit usually. You can't be better, really. There's really no aspect of his game, unless he just starts raining threes on people, which probably wouldn't even necessarily improve his effectiveness. It would just get like his total points up. Jokic has like 15 extra games to win, and I think he's going to win it.
Yeah, although Jokic was in the top 3 in points per game, rebounds per game, assists per game, no one has been in the top 10 of all 3 in the same season. Also shot better than Steph Curry from 3 for like a large portion of the year. I think he did. Did he lead the league at the end? I think he dipped at the end.
Yeah, but for a while he had the highest because he's shooting 50% of like the first half of the season.
Yeah, I don't know that he can raise expectations. Like even if the Nuggets win 60, it's like, yeah.
I think 60. If they have the top seed, he's getting it for sure.
Sure,
that's
top
the
seed.
thing. If they're the top seed over OKC, 100%.
But and just to pivot back to the moves, Bruce Brown coming back is awesome. That gives them a guy who will play off ball, who can cut, who can catch and shoot the open 3. And Bruce Brown was rough to watch last year in Toronto. But the Jokic bounce. I watch a ton of Raptors games. I love Raptors games.
That's always. Well, I guess tell me what did Bruce Brown look like in a Raptors jersey? What was wrong with him?
He looked old, and the positions he was put in, he was asked to do things. He was asked to kind of create for himself, or like when he'd catch it, the defense wasn't already in rotation. He would have to catch it and then like jab step and cut. When he plays with Jokic, Bruce Brown is never an initiator of the offense. Bruce Brown is backdoor cut guy, is let me get underneath the basket, and my man's going to lose sight of me, and I'm going to get the offensive rebound and put it back in. With the Raptors, there was not enough spacing or enough ball movement for him to like thrive in the chaos. He had to partially be one of the guys responsible for creating the chaos. And to be fair, Bruce Brown also was hurt at the start of the year, didn't play a lot. So like then he was running with bench units, and there just never was like a good moment for him to kind of use his high level basketball IQ to like take advantage of things. Just because of the lack of overall talent around him and his overall lack of talent as an individual player.
So you're saying the Raptors roster makes no fucking sense?
I have said that so many times. Although they are getting close to just being able to play small forwards, and I'm kind of excited
Yeah.
about it. Like you put out Brandon Ingram, Scotty Barnes, this new guy they drafted, Boyle, RJ Barrett, and miss me with RJ's a 2 and Scotty's a 4, and like sure they can all be a
They're
little bit
all
different.
threes. They're all
They're
threes.
all yeah,
That's
they're
why Masai drafted one more three. And they're like,
he actually might be a
he's like,
4.
please, just one more small forward. Just let me draft one more. And like, all right, you won a title in 2019. I'll give you permission to draft one more lengthy small forward.
Yeah, but running a bunch of 3-4s, I want to see a team do it. I want to see all 5 be able to switch everything. Will it work? No. Will I enjoy it for a few minutes? Yes. To be fair, the Lakers also tried it. Did not work the greatest. Did somewhat enjoy it, though. But were the Nuggets your team or my team?
The Nuggets were my pick.
Okay. Do you have any more Nuggets thoughts?
No, I think that's about it. I mean, I love that they were aggressive. I love they didn't mind giving up the unprotected first to get Porter Jr. off the team. Shout out the Nets for taking that on. Here's just a quick question. On a scale, I need to think of the high end for this. Give me like a player that went to a bad team. All right, on a scale from Wizards Bradley Beal to Wizards Jordan Poole, where is Porter Jr. going to fit in on the good stats, bad team scale?
Were either of those guys good stats, bad teams guys?
Well, Bradley averaged 30. That's what I was saying. Like Beal averaged 30 and his team sucked, and Poole averaged 15 and his team sucked.
I would expect Porter to get low 20s, like 22, 23.
Okay. I think it's going to be a mess. I think it's going to be very similar to when Poole went to the Wizards, and it's like, oh man, like the chains are off now. Like let him roam free, Jordan Poole. And it turns out all he wanted to do was like take bad shots and play no defense. And I feel like the structure of Nuggets basketball helped keep Michael Porter Jr. in check, and without that, he's going to be like a truly detrimental player.
Oh, I didn't say what the percentages were going to look like. Like,
well, if Poole was the worst player in the league and Bradley Beal won a scoring title, or I was close to it.
Yeah. I don't think you're going to have Poole, but I also don't think you're going to have Bradley Beal. I think you're going to bite the middle ground into something that is like 2 years ago's version of Kyle Kuzma.
Wow, 2 years ago. Okay, so that's pretty dark. Yeah, no, I think you nailed it. That's pretty dark, but
yeah. All right. Let's talk some Memphis Grizzlies. Memphis brought back Santi Aldama, brought back Jared Jackson Jr., Cam Spencer. They also, at least for the moment, have brought in Cole Anthony. There's talk that they may try to send him somewhere else. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Ty Jerome, Jacques Landale, and of course have lost Luke Kennard, Jay Huff, and Desmond Bane. Also, they got the guy in the draft, Cedric Howard. Is Memphis better? Is Memphis worse? I don't know how I feel about them.
They're worse. They're worse because Desmond Bane's really good. I think
you
can like the pieces they added. I think it's interesting because I don't like the pieces they added.
Okay, which piece?
Terrible. KCP was horrendous last year. Like Cole Anthony is the lowest tier of like heat check bench guys. Ty Jerome's fine, and Jacques Landale is unplayable. Yeah, Bane was close to all-star value, and that guy's just gone. Like this is a retool. They got a bunch of picks from Orlando. They're gonna be.
They already spent one of the extra picks.
And I honestly, I kind of like Jay Huff.
2 of them, actually.
I think the Pacers show like why they are such a good front office. Like Huff, pretty good rim protection numbers, spaces the floor, just like Miles Turner light, diet Miles Turner light. I need 2 qualifiers on that. He fits a similar role, and I honestly just love that for Indiana. Yeah, I think they won 48 games last year, and I would probably expect closer to 44, 45 this year.
All right. My thoughts are Ja misses a fair amount of time. And I think Ty Jerome is like the right point guard to fill more of those minutes. Scottie Pippen Jr. dramatically outplayed his contract. It was very good in those roles. But like, I think Ty Jerome is going to be a little bit better. And if you're counting on missing Ja, who is the engine of Memphis, getting another guy to replace him feels like a good move in my mind. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, horrid in Orlando. But is that because it was Orlando and there was not a lot of spacing and things? I'm grasping for straws, but I'm hoping for, if not a full return to form for Pope, like 80% of what we saw from Denver Pope versus 40% of what we saw from Denver Pope. Cole Anthony, I think, will be moved off of, but I'm intrigued at the fit. So I don't know that any of this is enough to make up for the loss of Bane, who is very, very good at basketball. But I don't know that it's truly enough to really set them back, especially when you think about the other guys improving another year and a year of experience for Jalen Wells and Zach Edey. So maybe Memphis comes in about the same.
Yeah, Jalen Wells being healthy is a big deal for sure. And I still like Edey. I still am an Edey fan. I think he has a place in the NBA. I just really feel like this is going to be a retool the Grizzlies roster. I love Desmond Bane. He's just a really good player. And I think was over at least this past season was probably was better. Last year, would you rather have Bane or Ja? That's my question.
For the single year, I think he had a better single year than Ja.
Yeah.
But if I'm still looking forward and like who's going to be better this year, it's still Ja in my mind. Who's going to be better in 2 years? I think it's still going to be Ja. Who would I rather build a franchise around? It's still Ja. I just think that Bane had. Should
it be?
On the court talent wise, it is still Ja.
I honestly don't agree. I think if I'm Memphis, I would have traded Ja first.
I think they would have too. I think they would have too. Yeah, I don't think the market was there for Ja. I think the market was there for Bane. I mean, you're trading like what would be in many cases a franchise player at a very low point in his value. Not so much, partially due to on the court, but a lot of due to health and injury and off the court things. Like, yeah, I'm not giving up good value for Ja at that point.
I would have traded him. Dude's super brittle, kind of a moron, can't shoot. Just not. But the ceiling is low. The ceiling is lower than you think it is.
Who wants him though? While he's like, you need to have him be healthy for a year, and then you can trade him.
I think teams would pay top dollar still.
Fair. I disagree with that. All but right. You want to go one more team each, and then I've got some other stuff?
Yeah.
Who's your last team then? Or at least your next team. Maybe we come back to this in a bit.
Can we talk about the Pelicans?
Yeah.
We'll get negative. We've been pretty positive, I'd say. We picked out positive. Except for I did make fun of Toronto.
The Pelicans have added Saddiq Bey, Kevon Looney, Jordan Poole, also Jeremiah Fears, and Derek Queen. How are you feeling about these additions?
Bad. I feel bad. I feel bad about them. I think it's just a very strange roster. I guess if I knew Zion was going to be healthy, then it feels a lot different because he is so talented. I don't really think I prefer Poole to CJ McCollum, even at this point of their career. And the Pelicans basically got paid to eat the extra salary.
I find it very interesting that they brought in Joe Dumars and Joe Dumars brought in Troy Weaver. who Troy Weaver was responsible for the disaster class.
Fucking biggest morons in the NBA, dude.
Yeah,
Sorry, go
like,
ahead.
well, I mean, really, like Dumars built the '04 Pistons dynasty and had basketball like lock and key figured out for a minute. And then the game drifted away from him, and the subsequent moves nowhere near as good. But the kind of demise and the Rodney Stuckey and the Charlie Villanueva, I think he might have even moved on by then, or that was his moving out point. But like, but Troy Weaver, if someone came to me and said, "Hey, I want to bring in Troy Weaver to my franchise," I'm like, "Get the fuck out of my franchise!" Like that's when you fire Joe
Go
Dumars.
away. Go
Because
away.
Troy Weaver was responsible for the disaster class that was the Pistons prior to Cade.
Yeah.
He then goes and is responsible for the disaster class that is Washington. And now he comes here, and the first thing he does is like, listen, I know Poole didn't work out in Washington. Let me bring him here. Sadiq Bey didn't work out in Washington. Let me bring him here. Let me draft. And people have been talking about this
What
a
was
ton.
his role in Washington? I don't remember.
He was an advisor.
Was it Weaver or Dumars?
Weaver.
Oh, Weaver. Gotcha.
Yeah.
I was looking at Dumars.
Yeah. Apparently he has some Washington ties. And so does everyone he drafts and trades for. Like, this has been a thing that people keep bringing up on different pods. This is that Derek Queen was a Maryland DMV type of guy. One of the other guys they drafted went to school in the greater DC area. Sadiq Bey grew up in DC. He had like these just trades. He is like exclusively, let me get big men, centers, undersized or oversized centers, oversized fours, and let me get guys from the DMV area. And
All
like,
right. I love the oversized and undersized. Like,
well, I mean,
All right,
Derek Queen is undersized, is 5, but like a big 4.
Yeah.
And I thought the Derek Queen move was interesting. I don't hate the talent play for the upside if you didn't have to give up next year's pick. Because like
that's horrendous. That's so bad.
it's
Just
so
catchy,
bad.
and they're just not a good roster. And we didn't even really understand the trade. We did it live and didn't. I think I was eating, and I came back, and they're like, "Oh, the Pelicans have this pick," and we did not get it.
Yeah, it's like, okay, give up next year's pick. Well, next year's pick could be whatever, but like it's the better of the Pelicans or the Bucks pick.
Yeah,
That's
why
not
you guys
going to be.
asked me about the Pelicans or the Bucks.
Yeah. Like, if the Pelicans have a really good season, they're the 8th worst team in the league next year.
Wow, the 8th worst. I was thinking the 8th seed. If all things go right,
If Zion doesn't miss a single game next year,
Yeah.
do they hit 500
yeah, they should.
in
Hey,
the
no, I think
West?
it's on him. I have a great question for you.
No, I'm not done.
Okay.
Stop me when I say a team that's going to be worse than the Pelicans
Okay.
in the West. OKC, Denver,
No, keep going.
Houston, Minnesota,
No,
the Lakers.
no.
Oh gosh, why am I struggling to think of teams?
Not Western
Memphis,
Conference team. No,
San Antonio,
no. San Antonio would be better.
the Clippers.
That one's interesting. I'm gonna say the Clippers should be better, but I always do feel like the Clippers are just like a second away from imploding as that roster gets older and older.
Sure. The Kings, as currently constructed.
I would like to think the Kings. Okay, I would like to think the Kings would be better. I also like to think they'd be worse. In the perfect world, we tank this next season, but
Sure. In a perfect world, you tank. I don't think it's going to be a perfect world. Portland. Like, are you really willing to bet that
Portland should be
OKC?
better.
My thoughts exactly. Phoenix could be worse. Utah will be worse. Who else?
Phoenix will be worse. Utah will be worse. We're missing. I think Dallas is the only one. Dallas will be better. Golden State as well will be better.
Dallas and Golden State. Okay.
So right now we like tentatively the Pelicans are the 13th seed,
Yes.
but like within 5 games of that's reasonable.
Yeah. And I mean, if we want to talk about like the Eastern teams that are worse than them, like, yeah, there'll be quite a few Eastern teams worse than them. The Wizards, the Hornets, it's the Nets. But like, we named 2 teams in the West that we think will be worse. There are probably 4 Eastern teams that are locks to be worse. A 5th one will happen due to injuries. But if the Pelicans are fully healthy,
it's gonna be
and
the
that's
Pelicans again.
it's going to be the Pelicans. Pelicans are going to be bad.
They're the injured team yet again because they got crushed last year. Like, just look, they won 21 games. Murphy missed time. CJ was hurt. Herb Jones missed the entire year. I think to start. No, yeah, Murray, yeah. Zion, of course, only played 30 games. All right, so the architect of this, Troy Weaver and Joe Dumars, this is just insane. Okay, so I grabbed the last 5 years of Dumars' Pistons tenure and all 4 years of Weaver's Pistons tenure. 497 games. How many wins?
497 games. Less than 100.
All right, little undershot. 214. 214. That's an average of 23 wins per season.
Wait. How is that 400? How many games did you say that was? In 8 years?
Oh, sorry. Bad. I totally messed that up. The total games was 711. I looked at the losses column. That's my fault. So they went 214 and 497.
Okay. That makes so much more sense.
My bad.
That makes so much more sense.
That's 23 wins a year. And the Pistons are like, yeah, or the Pelicans are like, I'll take that. And honestly, fuck Joe Dumars. Like, in 2020, he straight up he did a coup in the Kings. He tried to seize power, like, and be the GM, and he got kicked out, and that's why he left for some NBA job. But he basically like tried to push his weight around, and now the Pelicans take. I feel so bad for Pelicans fans.
I don't know. You're a Kings fan, man. I'm just saying.
No, it
might not have been the worst thing.
I think it may not have been the worst thing. And honestly, genuinely, though, because at 2020, like, there's no beam, nothing's going on, we're terrible. Monty McNair built a playoff team. Joe Dumars is not building a playoff team.
That's fair. Joe Dumars is building a team of fat, overweight, often injured, underachievers. And
let's go.
I want to circle back because I said I don't hate the idea of getting Derek Queen for like the talent play upside if you don't give up next year's pick, because the follow-up to that is it means you move off Zion. We're done with the Zion experiment. We're investing in Queen because I don't think you can play Queen and Zion together. They're different players. Queen is a little bit more back to the basket, although he does have a face-up game, but he passes well out of the post. He is an offensive hub in a similar way that Zion is. And neither of them plays defense, and they occupy similar floor spaces. So, like, if you want to go for Queen, that's fine. But instead of giving up next year's pick, give up Zion. Or figure out a different way to move him somewhere. And now that they've given up next year's pick, I can't imagine that they're like, cool, we're going to take a year off. We're going to give up Zion intentionally and, be really bad while we develop our youth.
I love it. I love the bringing in a guy named Dairy Queen to play next to Zion. That's good.
Yeah.
Player comps on the ringer is Domantas Sabonis, JaMychal Green, Thad Young, Boris Diaw. It is just insane because, man, Zion torched the Kings last year. And I mean, I think Zion is like one of the 20 best players in the league. And so you look back on it, like, can this guy be healthy? Let me pull up his stats against the Kings. He played us twice. He had 33 points on 72% shooting and then 40 points on 76% shooting.
When we were doing our modern player re-rank, I brought up the Zion stats. They are above 500 with Zion in the lineup, and they are like a 30% win team without Zion over the last 5 seasons he's played in. Like, and it gets better if you just look at the last 3, but he doesn't play.
No.
All right, the Pelicans were your last this team. I want to talk about Atlanta. We've skirted around Atlanta. We've mentioned them in passing, but they made really good moves, I thought. Bringing in Kristaps Porzingis, an awesome gamble for the cost. It cost them Terrence Mann and like a mid first round pick. Fine. If he's healthy, he can be the way he was during the regular season, or even last regular season, like 2 seasons ago now. That's a huge upgrade. His rim protection and his 3-point shooting, spacing the floor out there is going to be huge. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, another lanky wing to continue to have a lot of defensive presence in the backcourt next to Trae Young. And then Luke Kennard, just a dead-eye shooter or a true sniper. So if Young's on the bench and he needs some threes, like, I think it was a well done offseason.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm disappointed because the Hawks are going to be my like hot take pick to win 50 games before any of this, and now they're just shoe in for that. And everyone knows, and I'm not cool anymore for thinking the Hawks are going to be good. I love the Kristaps trade. Go ahead.
Does this mean you and David Lee are finally going to, bury your hatchet?
What are you referring to?
D Lee for 3 on TikTok. My guy.
We get along.
I remember some pushing back and forth on your Trae Youngs. I thought
I messaged him I messaged him the other day. I said he's one of the best creators in the business. I really did.
He is. I love him.
Yeah.
I mean, he came on the pod and was talking to me about God, why am I blanking on names? Their young center, short guy, 6'8", Okongwu, and his hips being too high and not rotating well.
Yeah,
D Lee is great.
No, I agree.
I felt like you guys had some
along. No, do you know why me and him get along?
Why?
There's one player we hate in Juncture together.
Paolo. You guys are both anti-Paolo.
Yeah, both anti-Paolo, and so yeah, we're together in that for sure.
Okay. I thought there was some anti-Trae, pro-Trae between the two of you pushed back.
I feel bad for him. I see him on Twitter and he's like defending Trae Young. It's like, just give it up. Just give it because if the Hawks were smart, they'd trade Trae and build around the team they have right now, and they'd win 75 games.
I also remember him calling out those NBA TikTokers who were more interested in talking Love Island than they were talking NBA Finals. I thought that was a subtle shot across the brow.
At me?
Yeah.
Nah. I mean,
it was those videos were back to back in my feed. You talking Love Island, him. I'm talking.
Wait, let's be honest. The Love Island was more entertaining than the finals. So
no, not a chance.
No, it was better.
As a non-Love Island watcher, I can't fully comment, but
come on,
finals were great.
Finals, give me a break.
So you think the Hawks are gonna be a 50-win team?
Yeah, like 50. Honestly, I might go further than that.
Can I say there's one more move that I want them to make?
What's that?
I want them to try to get in the Al Horford signing.
Is that can they even do that?
I mean, they can give him a minimum. I don't know if they can give him anything more than that, but you bring Al Horford home, reminiscence of those mid-2000s, mid-10s Hawks teams. Also, you keep him and Kristaps paired together, or if KP's healthy, Horford can sit. If he's not, you play Horford, rounds out their 4-5 rotation.
That'd be phenomenal. I can't lie. That'd be phenomenal.
That's just great. It'd be all the good feels. It'd be the perfect storyline. I think if Denver falls through and isn't able to get him to replace Valanciunas, don't sign with Golden State. Go sign with Atlanta. That's where you're meant to be, Al.
Yeah, the Golden State vibes are just so messy. They'd be such an old team. Like, I mean, let's be honest. Horford doesn't have that much left in the tank.
Yeah, and like, if you don't have that much left in the tank, do you want to be the guy that's responsible for being the backline defense behind Draymond and Jimmy Butler?
No.
I mean, like, those guys will mop up a lot of the stuff, so you're not getting as attacked as much. It's kind of like when I played hockey. I was a goalie that had a 3-season shutout, but I got like 5 shots on goal the entire game because my defense was just stellar and just wiped everyone off the ice before they could get to me. Like, it was really boring. It's why I quit playing hockey, is because I just never, like, I transitioned to being the goalie, and it's like, cool. I just really part of it. Yeah, I just stand here, and I only started being goalie because our goalie got knocked unconscious one game, and like, do we need a sub?
It is
Um,
pretty crazy that Horford played 28 minutes a night basically last year. Like
yeah,
I said he doesn't have much in the tank, but I don't know. He played more this year than last year, so
he didn't want to though. He shouldn't have.
no, he shouldn't have.
But yeah. All right. So that's I don't know. What do we do? 4 teams each. I
Yeah.
I've pulled up a list of the best available free agents remaining.
Mm.
Uh, and we've touched on a number of them, but I kind of want to just speed run through these. Where do you think they land? Starting with Damian Lillard.
It's so tricky because the NBA cap is dumb. The NBA cap is non-existent. It doesn't exist like it does in baseball, which is obviously baseball doesn't have a salary cap. Football has a hard cap. Pay your players whatever you want. At the start of the season, you have to be under this number. In the NBA, like nothing matters. It doesn't exist. No, there are no cap problems. Like nothing is that hard to get out of. You could just stretch the contract or dump it or whatever. Um, I couldn't tell you who even could sign Dame. What's the market value like on Damian Lillard at this point? I think he's 33 coming off an Achilles injury. He was really good this year. Like he was much better this year than last year. He's not going to play until the season after that. Like I can't even process it.
I ultimately do think he probably signed somewhere for the minimum. I'm very interested to know for his finances. Is he getting paid his contract on the side, like on the scale in years that he, signed to? Like, will he get all of what he was expecting this year and next year? Or is it actually going to be those stretch payments? Because I always thought the stretch payments were like an accounting thing for the league of like, this is how much it hurts your salary, but you actually still pay the guy like his normal money in those normal years. Um, and I want to know the full answer. Or like, is he getting 22 or is he getting 48 this year? Because that makes a little bit of a difference in my mind.
I have no idea. I have no idea how this fucked. I think because they stretched it, that's the number he gets.
Okay. So then if I'm Lillard, my biggest concern is where can I rehab successfully and then be a part of a really good team in 2 years when my Achilles is repaired, but my defense is absolutely non-existent, and who knows what the rest of my legs look like. And my thoughts on that are either Denver, who has like a state-of-the-art training facility. There's a lot of Nike training facilities. He's in the Denver area, although Lillard is an Adidas guy, right?
I don't know the shoe deals, man.
There's a lot of state-of-the-art training equipment in Denver or
Yeah.
New York. One of those two teams. And the idea that he could go to New York on a minimum, rehab all this year, and then be the Vinny Johnson off the bench, the just like most insane microwave option. And that might
I'd love it. Yeah.
I mean that probably feels disrespectful to Lillard, but I think realistically that's what he needs to think about is he's coming off the bench in 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at it now. He's going to be 35 soon. And so by the time he plays again, he's going to be 36. 36 at 6'2", and he already showed like very obvious signs of slowing down over the last 2 seasons.
And Achilles. Like
we're never
you're showing signs of slowing down.
20 a night again. And then that makes me it's like what and so for Denver, I'm like, I don't know. Like, did you want to have Jokic as a rim protector, like with Lillard on the floor?
I mean, I think at that point you're just saying, can we outscore them? Can Lillard come in off the bench for a few minutes a night, or not a few minutes, but like 20 minutes a night and just put up points? Can he get 20 points in 20 minutes? And is that enough to compensate for how bad the defense is going to be?
Probably. I don't know.
I mean, is there anywhere else that you see that would be a good fit? Do you want him in Minnesota?
I don't want him in the league, dude. I mean, genuinely, I don't feel like he should come back. That was my first reactions. Like, Lillard's cursed up. You're gonna be 36 coming off an Achilles. It's over. Like, do you want to come back for 2 seasons and be terrible?
Yeah.
If you want to end it on your terms, that's fine. Go ahead, but it's gonna get ugly.
And I want to say, as a proud son of the Midwest, to any Minnesotan that heard that, I know about the Mayo Health Clinic. I've got family that have had to permanently relocate to Minnesota for the rehabbing and health services of Mayo Health Clinic. You guys are fantastic. Do fantastic work out there. But if you're
Sponsor
rehabbing,
us, Mayo
do you really
Health.
want to rehab in the cold? Like, is that really where you want to rehab? It's cold up
Sponsor
there.
us, Mayo Health Clinic.
Oh. All right. So that's Lillard.
Really
Second,
quickly, we didn't really talk about the Bucks just for a
Yeah.
second. Like stretching Lillard, and he's just going to be $20 million of a cap hit for nothing over the past 5 years is probably one of the worst things I've ever seen a franchise do. And when I saw that they waived him, I initially thought it was going to be like Bobby Bonilla. I think he's Hispanic, so the L's are silent. Where they just pay, you know what I'm talking about? With the
just
Mets
eat
pay
the
him.
contract.
The Mets pay. It's Bobby Bonilla Day. They pay him like $500,000 a year every year for the next 50 years. I think that runs until like 2036, and he was on the team 20 years ago. They stretched it forever, basically his lifetime. I thought it was going to be that kind of thing where it's just, he's on the cap until the end of time, but you can't win a title paying $20 million a year for nothing. Impossible. No. That's never going to happen. And that was an insane decision.
They have reconstructed a decent roster in that absence, but like they had to dump Pat Connaughton, who Pat put up a 40 piece his last game of the regular season. He's not great, but they had to just straight up dump him because of the cap implications and where they were still at. They added Gary Harris, they added Miles Turner, Vasily Micic, who I think is going to be bought out and go back to Europe. And they returned a lot of their other guys, Bobby Portis, Torian Prince, Gary Trent Jr., Kevin Porter Jr. Like, it's a fine roster around Giannis. If this was like 25, 26-year-old Giannis, and you're like, yeah, we're going to try to position ourselves so that way, we're in striking distance, and then the next 2 or 3 years, we can try to add that final piece, and it's just like, you don't have time for that. If this roster is not contending now and not contending next year, Giannis's window is closing. Like,
it's violently slammed shut. It's not going to happen. I think if they're just going to say, I want Giannis to finish his career here this year, next year, the next 5 years don't matter, whatever. Mm-hmm. The Achilles injury is a real thing that I think that's going to affect a lot of teams. The Celtics should be just begging teams to take Jaylen Brown from them. Please take this contract from us. We're not going to be good for another year and a half. If I'm Indiana, you know what you can get for Pascal Siakam? I'd ship his ass out in a heartbeat. He's going to be Siakam's going to be 33 by the time Halliburton is back to even 90%. It's over. Like, this is going to be such a long rehab.
Yeah, especially, I mean, these guys went down in the playoffs. That's Hallie, Tatum, Lillard. Like, they are out all of next season. Maybe they start 2 seasons from now at 100%. But I think it's hard to be at 100% and, like, coming off that injury without playing your way back into it a bit.
Yeah.
All right. After Lillard, the next best free agent that I could find is not a free agent yet, but is Bradley Beal, provided he gets bought out, which is looking more and more likely from what I'm seeing and hearing. What's a good fit for Bradley?
It is interesting. I actually kind of like Milwaukee because they have nothing going on and nothing going for them. I really like that you mentioned that. And you're like, hey, if you want to come here, like, we are so desperate for shot creation, and like we lost Dame. Bradley Beal's so terrible, but he's at least, I'd say he's a starting shooting guard. Like, that's a fine thing to say. When he was making $50 million a year, he was supposed to be part of a big three. That really changes your perspective. But I think Beal is just one of the worst people that's ever played in the NBA. I think, like, of those that haven't commit crimes, like, in that, so just like genuinely like an evil person in his heart, where he's like, fuck Phoenix, I'm never waiving this no trade clause, and I'm taking this entire franchise down with me. I mean, like, the Sun, if I'm a Suns fan, I have Jalen Green, Beal, and no first round picks until 2032, and I feel terrible.
Yeah, I won't go quite as far with that because
you won't say that Beal is one of the worst people ever to play in the NBA.
No,
other than people that committed crimes.
Listen, I'm not going to put him in the same category as Toby and Saddam and whoever else Michael was going to shoot or not shoot. Who maybe Phoenix fans will, but like Bradley Beal at 50 whatever $million, really bad value for that. Kind of same deal with like Tobias Harris, that when Tobias finished his Philadelphia stint and then goes to Detroit on a much more reasonable number, he gets to be part of something fun. He gets to be beloved again. I think if Beal gets bought out and gets to go to Milwaukee, he could be a lot more beloved, or a number of other places, but Milwaukee's my pick for him too. The third best remaining free agent is a man who is currently negotiating for $30 million with Chicago, and I appreciate the Bulls holding the line. Josh Giddey.
Giddey.
What does his final number look like? And is there any chance that he ends up anywhere else?
No, he's going to be a Bull. And genuinely, I said this on a TikTok, the Kings and the Bulls they signed a contract with the Devil, and they have to get to as close to 500 as possible. And you got above that. The Kings got above that, and so they made a bunch of moves to get back to that. So now we're here. We're going to win 41 games next year. The Bulls have the same thing going on. How are they going to get to the play-in? The end goal is 39 wins, and we have to get to 39 wins. Giddey is perfect for that. He's not a high-level shooter. He's not a high-level defender. He's not a high-level scorer. And he can put up gimmicky triple doubles and not impact the game in any way. It's so good. Give him $30 million a year. He guarantees 38 wins a season.
I kind of want Brooklyn to get in on this. Just the
why would you want Brooklyn?
Squad.
Yeah, I was gonna say, why would you want Brooklyn to sign another 6'8", like a non-shooting point guard? What are you cursing them with, man?
You got Danny Wolf, Ben Seraph, Jaeger Demon. Like, hey, what if everyone passes? And then we have Michael Porter Jr.
Wow. I imagine like those guys are all playing hot potato with the ball, and then Cam Johnson and Michael Porter Jr. are just like, they both are holding the ball, like just tugging on it, like trying to get the ball with each other, but they won't pass it.
Funny you say Cam Thompson. He's a little bit further down the list, but Cam Thompson, still a free agent.
Did I say Thompson?
I don't know. Cam Thomas.
Yeah,
Still
you know what the market value is for a shot-chucking, undersized point guard that can't play defense? That fucking zero, man. No chance.
Where's he ended up?
I feel like he's gonna be a Laker on like the minimum or something. He's gonna be one of those prove it deals, and they're like, "Oh, the Lakers did it again." They grabbed Cam Thomas, and then by February they're like, "Get Cam Thomas off my team. This is just D'Angelo Russell, but worse."
I could see it. I do think he probably just ends up back in Brooklyn, or I feel like he's a Northeastern guy. Maybe even the Knicks. Like,
I could see that. I mean, like him and Clarkson, like they already have that. There's not
put
much
shots up,
guys.
Toronto,
but like Miles McBride is kind of their like heat check guy. Like you can't do a third.
Boston. Peyton Pritchard's moving into the starting lineup. They need a new Peyton Pritchard.
You don't have cap space. They are over the apron. They are over. I think they're under the second apron, but they don't have.
You think Cam Thomas is getting cap?
I think you have to pay him something. I think you have to pay him. I just don't even think they have the minimum to give out.
I mean, everyone has the minimum, but
no, I really Boston's capped out, dude. They're done.
You can always sign guys to the minimum, even if you're over the cap.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yes. All right. Number 4? We touched on him earlier, but Jonathan Kuminga, what jersey is he wearing next season? Is he going to be a Kings?
He's going to be a King, and I'm going to feel great about that. Like I mean, like, maybe it'll... Jack the Kings fan had a concern that it would price us out of Keegan Murray extensions. Fuck Keegan Murray, dude. Are you kidding me? Keegan Murray's 29 years old. He's as good as he'll ever be. There's no chance that he's going to be a star. Give Kuminga $25 million over Keegan Murray.
Sure. I don't have that much deep takes on Keegan Murray for you, but I'm still pulling for Charlotte. I think that's where I'd love to see him end up. Mm-hmm. Fifth highest is Al Horford. We've touched on him a bunch. Which do you want to stake a claim on where he's going to end up?
You cut out for a second. What was that?
The fifth best guy is Al Horford. Do you want to?
Horford. I think he's going to be a Warrior. It's going to be sad and it's going to be tough to watch. That team's going to be really old. But I mean, Horford's still such a complete player. Shoots the three well, defends the rim, hustles his ass off. And I think he'll be able to do that till he's 45.
I'm with you there. I do really want it to be either Atlanta or Denver, though. But we'll see. Malik Beasley. Pistons, prison, or somewhere else?
Hey, I was thinking the Folsom Prison jail yard team.
The longest yard. I think he probably gets cleared. I doubt they'll actually convict him of anything. They did kick Jonte Porter out of the league, so maybe. But I think he ends up back in Detroit on a significantly reduced deal.
I'd be pretty shocked.
Quentin Grimes still unsigned. In for what I'm seeing.
I think Philly will figure that out. I think Philly will have him ready.
I'm just surprised that they haven't already.
I'm not sure what the holdup is.
Yeah, and the longer we have this holdup, the more I think he could go somewhere else. And this is a guy that really could help a number of teams just with his 3-point shooting. And it feels like everyone just gives up on him. Like Dallas has traded him out. Detroit traded him out. The Knicks. Like it feels like teams are giving up on Quentin Grimes too early, and maybe I just have too much Grimes stock, but I'd really love to see him go somewhere and play some meaningful basketball. That's pretty much it. There's Chris Boucher, Precious Achiuwa, but there's not a lot of needle movers left in free agency.
No, we're all done. The summer of Giannis, the big summer that we were promised. Turns out that was ESPN propaganda.
I should say one more needle mover is Chris Paul, who announced his retirement or his final season in retirement. I did not see. Did that? I don't believe that came along with a new contract.
No, he just said he wants to play one more year. Good for Chris Paul.
Is that one more year going to be in San Antonio with their plethora of point guards, or have they edged him out?
I don't think there is a starting role left for him, honestly.
Let's see. Brooklyn has 1,000 point guards. You go to Charlotte and just count on LaMelo getting hurt.
I could see the Heat. Who's the Heat's point guard right now?
It was Terry Rozier as of last season.
They do not have a listed point guard on the roster. Okay. All right. No, they do. Sorry, it's down here. It's organized weird. Davion, Rozier. Yeah, I mean, I could see Davion coming off the bench, and you could say, all right, Chris Paul, here's your starting gig.
Yeah, the kid they drafted from Illinois is kind of more of a combo, so maybe.
Orlando, maybe? And now they have Suggs coming back.
So he'd be a nice fit.
I kind of like that fit though. Milwaukee, I mean, is Milwaukee the option for this?
I hope not. Although it would set him up nicely for a coaching gig right afterwards.
Yeah, because their only point guard. Honestly, that's probably
it reunites him with Doc.
Yeah, I'm sure they love each other.
There has been a little bit of could he go back to the Clippers? They could use a point guard. Someone to initiate and set up the offense.
They do? They have Harden.
I mean...
No, he's a point guard. He's been playing point guard. He's been playing point guard for years. That's who the point guard.
Tell that to any other team's point guard.
That's what point guards are in the modern NBA.
I don't think any other point guard has ever been defended by James Harden. He has never once defended a point guard.
Reasonable.
All right. But I think that about does it. Unless you've got more teams that you really feel hot takey. But I'm feeling like we're going to be grasping for straws for content next week. So
that would be good.
All right. Aaron, where can the people find you?
Possible Chairs on TikTok, Possible Chairs on Twitter, my Patreon for all of our all-time lists, and this podcast occasionally.
Find me, Nate_HoopsTemple on YouTube or TikTok. You can email the show, hoopstemple@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you.